and well met. I am Mr. Eager DM at your service, and we welcome you one and all to Trapped by Hope, a live stream Dungeons & Dragons broadcast presented by Lawful Stupid RPG. Just in case you missed last week, you did hear correctly. We have changed our name. I suspect that no one had any trouble finding us despite the change, but if you did, congratulations, you made it. You're here, and we are so appreciative. Thank you very much. Tonight, we continue our greatly altered and augmented playthrough of the module Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. Joining us, we have Typhon the Wizard, Rim the Ranger Paladin, Silas the Paladin Fighter, Jax the Rogue, and Zelmira the Monk. Our intrepid Bard and Cleric are not joining us tonight, but they will be back next Monday, and for the Mondays in the foreseeable future. We will miss them, and I will try not to kill them while they are gone. My friends, it is time. I extend my hand, inviting you to step with me into fantasy. Release your hold on that which you know to be true, and let your imagination rule for the next few hours. Last time, as Conscript Group 14 was speeding away from Uldrak's grave, a glowing orb of incredible power in their possession, they came to the realization that the object of their quest, namely Titan's blood, had yet to be obtained. They spun about immediately and headed back, charging headlong into a fight with an enraged blue dragon named Iazanth the Sapphire Tempest. A brief fight ensued in which several of the party, including their infernal machine, the Bloodstone, were battered. However, the dragon, realizing it was at a disadvantage, chose to escape, looking to do battle with the adventurers on another day. As it flew away, it promised Silas Khan that it would remember his scent. Free to explore, the party discovered a tunnel underneath the giant helmet that lay at Uldrak's grave. Exploring it, they found a large underground network of interconnected caves. The walls were a crimson rock covered with striations of pulsing heat, as well as strips of corroded, decaying metal. Reaching a larger cavern below, the party realized that the cave system seemed to be formed from a gigantic suit of armor that had become encased in stone and slowly rusted away, leaving the cavern in its place. Just as they made this discovery, large bulbous mounds scattered around the cavern began to shift and move, rolling out of themselves and becoming insect-like creatures that corroded any metal they touched. They've caught the scent of your armor, and battle is upon you. My friends, we will roll initiative. Initiative? Yes.
What's initiative?
We will. It's a new thing I just made up.
I've never heard of
what
that.
we're doing. Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons.
This is a live broadcast.
And I'm so happy about that. Alrighty, let's get some good initiative music.
Roll in.
I think I'm going to say all of my N's as M's for the rest of the night.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yes. Let's see.
Yeah.
Where's my token? Where's my token?
It's at Token Game Tavern in Knoxville, Tennessee. No, wait, that's legal.
Oh,
Do I have to drag myself on the board? Hang on a second. Where are we?
you're there. You're
Am
like
I?
You're on the
right
board,
there.
You're not in drag, but you're there.
Oh.
You're on the and I should point out, I should have made it
There we go.
clearer to the group last time, and I will tell to our viewers. The floor certainly, the floor of this cavern, as I have designed it, certainly
floor is
does
lava.
look like lava. It is not. It is what I found when I was creating a redstone cavern, and at the time, I didn't think it looked like lava, but looking at it, I definitely realized why somebody would think they're standing on lava. They are not.
Can we make switches and circuits out of it?
Perhaps. Just to re-familiarize yourself with this room, there are these two large pits on either side, and where you are standing right now is a mound of rubble that is very loose and treacherous. You have managed to find places to alight, but standing on the top of it is still a precarious perch. You can see one passageway leading out here. Make sure I'm on the right level. No, I'm not. Leading out here. You can see one leading out here, and you can see one leading out here. And I will reveal your adversaries as they are beginning to make their way towards you.
So we have determined that we are sort of on the inside of the
inseam, if you will,
armor, right?
Yes.
No, we're like standing on the pelvic floor right now.
Indeed,
right?
you are. Yes.
Okay, that's good.
That is exactly
Find
where
your
you
zit
are.
stones.
Exactly where you are.
Don't lie.
Pelvic floor is so important.
Hey, they don't lie. They don't.
All right. At the top of the initiative order, we have Rim Celebril.
Oh crap! All right. Well, in that case, I'm gonna use my, and I can move normally through this armor, can I not? Is that a thing?
So the area on the floor here is a little less steep than the area you were above, which had a very significant slope, about a 30-degree angle going down to the opening above you. Where you are right now, there is still a little bit of an angle, sort of leading, like if you were to fall or if you were to drop something round, it would roll into these two pits. And that
Gotcha.
goes for this entire cavern. Where you are standing currently, it's extremely steep, but the area around it is much more traversable. Does that help?
Yes-ish, yes. All right, I'm going to start taking shots at my local spider ickies.
Friendly neighborhood spider icky.
How long has it been since our last battle with the dragon?
Let's see. It's enough time for Typhon to have cast Fly once, twice, 3 times a baby.
I had to recast it.
You had to recast
I
it. So
think-
20 minutes. It's been less than an hour, I would say.
Less than an hour. So my hunter's mark should still be up. I haven't taken any damage to break that concentration.
Fair enough.
So I will bonus action move it to this little nugget down here,
Okay.
and I will take my first shot. And it's still all -3.
Yes, indeed.
So that's a 16 to hit.
16. Just a second here. A 16 does not hit.
Okay.
And as the arrow comes shooting at it, and ricochets off with a loud, bright sound, as if you hit something that was clad in full armor.
Okay.
The outsides of these creatures are extremely reflective, as if they are made of solid metal.
Okay. Second of 3 shots. I did not mean to roll with advantage on that. But that is an 18.
18 does hit.
All right. For a total of 14 damage.
Got it.
Any chance that kills him?
Does not. It,
All right.
It embeds itself in the armor and like sticks there extremely rigidly, and then as it moves, as it starts to crawl towards you, the shaft of the arrow breaks in its armor.
All right. And then the last one will be with potential Gloomstalker bonus if I hit. Which 21.
21 will hit.
So, with all of my bonus ouchies. Oh, well. Hey! 17 damage.
17 damage. Now, were any of these attacks magic?
The bonus ouchies were magic.
Okay, the bonus ouchies were magic, so that is the 8 there.
Actually, I would need a ruling on the Gloomstalker. I know the Hunter's Mark would be. So
yeah, Hunter's Mark is considered magic.
So the 4 from the first attack and the 1 from the second attack would be magical.
Okay.
Whether or not my Gloomstalker bonus ouchies on the third attack is magical, I don't think it would be. That's my gut instinct, but I don't know for sure.
Does anybody happen to know the answer to that right off the top of their head?
I would say it's a non-magical class feature. Doesn't use a spell slot. It's not a spell.
Got it.
Sounds about right.
We're going to roll with that then. Very good. That brings us to, unless you wish to move.
No, let me stay where I am.
Okay. That brings us to Typhon.
I will move on past, extend my hands, and
Difficult
channel,
terrain, obviously, so you're not
Yeah.
moving quickly.
and channel a beam of crackling lightning energy, which has kind of become his signature combat spell, and unleash a lightning bolt towards the 3 of them.
Very good. I will roll some dex saves, I believe.
That is correct.
So, number 1 has rolled an 8, number 2 has rolled a 15, and number 3 has rolled a 17.
All right. There's a 17 is the save
17, so green saved. The other 2 did not.
versus 31 points of damage.
31 points of damage as Typhon, you, what is the visual and some verbal component? How does one cast a lightning bolt if one is Typhon Ophiuchus?
Well, you can. His magic is very innate, and he speaks a sort of hissing, almost parcel tongue-like language as the energy, almost like the sparks on a what is it called? What's the thing on top of a building to catch
Pikachu?
lightning called?
A lightning rod?
Lightning rod, yes. So the energy starts sort of accumulating from the air around him, and as he brings his hand together, it's almost like it almost forms a sort of Tesla coil-like effect as the ball of energy begins to grow brighter and brighter between his hands as they rotate around, and then he very quickly brings his palms together as there's a crack of thunderous energy that releases the lightning forward in an instantaneous flash as it extends 120 feet out in an instant of blinding electric light.
I recall an earlier version of D&D when a lightning bolt that hit a wall would be reflected, but we're not playing that version.
Thankfully, if it did, it would probably angle up to the
good
north
point.
and
Good
hit
point.
those things up there.
Fair enough. So as this lightning bolt is cast, the room, which has a bit of a glow to it because of the heat in this room, the light changes and a much more pale light illuminates the room briefly as Typhon creates this ball of magic, and you get a very good look at these creatures that definitely have this insect look. As I said, they have a head, a thorax, and an abdomen, multi-legs, and the legs have long hooks and sort of like elongated hair-like protrusions on them. They have these 2 extremely long feathered antennae that are swirling back and forth, and a little tiny mouth and mandibles. And as the light illuminates, you see that upon behind them, they also have a tail that ends in some sort of odd, almost aerial-like look. It looks like it could be a claw, but permanently opened, as if it has no joints to snap it shut. And they all sort of recoil from the light from the spell, and then 3 of them get zapped extremely hard by the lightning. But as the sound and the smell of the ozone fades, they are still standing, and they begin to look like they're moving to attack. Silas.
That's not good at all. I am going to move forward to these creatures, which I've never seen before. And attack red.
Way to non-meta there, man. One of the...
Iranian, my
Okay,
magic metal weapon.
yeah, I gotcha.
That is rolling a 22 to hit.
22 is a hit.
And that's 10 slashing damage.
10 slashing damage, and you see it cut easily into the chitin of this creature, peeling it back like one would peel back the can of some
Whoop-ass.
preserved some whoop-ass.
But he's still standing. Yeah.
Yes, still standing.
Then I'm going to use my second attack with a 24 to hit
Also
and
a hit.
14 magic
And
slashing damage.
that is enough to slay this creature as the last blow comes down and you completely remove the head off the creature, which falls to the ground with an audible clank.
And that he is dead, can I move into his space?
Yes.
I am going to do so, positioning myself directly across from Blue, and my turn is done.
Very well. So, the creatures move with a skittering sound across the ground, rocks moving back and forth, and they move towards you. Both Pink and Yellow move to attack Falkran, who is simply covered in ferrous material. Orange and Purple come to Persephone, who also has a decent supply of armor upon her. And Silas, these two are moving to attack you. They come at them with their mandibles to bite, but also their antennae seem to be reaching out to try and somehow make contact with your armor.
My armor? Why would they do
Indeed.
that?
I don't know. It might have something to do with all of the rusty metal around you.
Rusty metal?
First the bite, which is an 11, which misses. And then the antenna come out, and I'm going to need a dexterity saving throw.
A straight dex?
Dexterity saving throw.
Ooh, that's a 10.
Okay,
which
don't forget
makes
to
it.
add your bonus.
Then that's a 13.
13
right?
is not enough. As these
Why did
antennae
you-
come out
False
and they
hope.
begin to move across your armor, and you hear a sort of a sound as bits and pieces of the armor begin to twist and coil in on themselves as they begin to corrode and rust. The process of what would normally take weeks, if not months, happening in mere seconds. The chains on your mail fall away like dust. And let's see here. You have now a permanent -2 penalty to the AC that the chainmail offers you. That is from Blue. Green also tries to bite. Missing with a 14, I believe. Although your new AC does that okay? So the 14 does miss, and then its antenna come. I will need another dexterity saving throw.
I thought Silas
The
had
dexterity
full
saving throw is up with a
Oh my god!
13 again, so that's a no.
That's a no. So more of your armor begins to corrode and slough away, and it takes another permanent -2 to its AC bonus.
Jesus.
Let's
I
see.
think that
how-
basically renders it stupid.
Yeah, now it's got to be like 10, right? Because
What is the bonus? What is the bonus that the chainmail usually offers?
I'm wearing chainmail, which gives me an AC 16. So
that's what is
12
yes,
plus 2.
12 plus. So yeah. So now, if the bonus of the armor gets to 10 or below, it is worthless. It is no more. It has been consumed by the rust monsters, or whatever these are. I do beg your pardon. The two in front here attacking Persephone. Let's see here. Miss on both bites, and then Persephone. What is the range of your aura? Silas?
Oh, it's only like 10 feet. It's nothing.
10 feet. Okay, so she's not within it. So she's going to make her dexterity saving throw just as is. And it comes up a... Boop. Oh, dear. All right. Both of those have failed. So she gets a permanent -2 to her armor class, which I believe...
Is she wearing
She's
metal armor?
She is wearing half plate.
Ooh.
Let us see here. Half
Oh
plate.
yeah,
you
I forgot we
calculated
got
for
her
it.
half plate.
That's right.
Is it just being in the vicinity? You haven't got a hitter then?
The antenna come out. It's not
nice.
an attack roll. It's a dexterity saving throw against it.
Wow.
So that is.
I gotta use these
-4.
against
Her
Prion.
armor is still,
Please don't.
I believe, is still okay. Yes. So she's taken. So she has 1 point of 1 point of AC left on her armor. So it is still functioning as armor. Let's see. Both bites miss Falkren. And now Falkren needs to make a dexterity saving throw. And Falkren, dexterity saving throw, not what she's known for, and it comes up. Oh, that's a failure. And wow! 2 failures for Falkren. So Falkren's armor takes a permanent -4 to its bonus.
We don't
So
really
that
need
is-
armor in hell, right? I mean, just might as well just take
That is plate armor, so it's going to be around for a long time, but now it is not functioning nearly as well as large swaths of Falkren's armor are covered in rust, as is Persephone's. Silas's, yours has fallen apart completely. Zelmira.
Okay, so since the glass trinket that she had from Shane broke, she's kind of been functioning in a semi-catatonic state, but she kind of gathers herself enough to realize that action needs to be taken, and she will cross to the chitin-covered creature on the other side.
CCC.
The C cubed. On the other side of Falkren.
So,
Yeah, so my question is this. Can I actually... Is there a way for me... Ignore what I just said. Is there a way for me to go to the creature that is then, like, diagonal to me? Is that
Pink
within
or yellow?
range? Sorry. Pink.
Pink. So you have plenty of movement.
Yeah.
You could attack it from where you currently are. You
Perfect.
could move around it and attack it from behind. It is your
Right,
fault.
because the floor isn't lava.
The floor is
Because when
not
I look
lava.
at the floor, I'm like, it's friggin' lava.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna get all up in the pink one's business and hit it with my fists.
Go for it. Roll your attack.
Okay, yes. And sorry.
That is a hit.
Great.
I will
No, you're
continue trying to let you all call out what you roll as opposed to saying that it is a hit
Oh,
prematurely.
no, it's fine. It's fine. I'm on too many pages at once, I think. So you're welcome to do that. And I will do that again for my second action.
Very good. Second attack. The first
Yes.
you hit, there's a kong as you hit it with your fist, and it creates a dent. And the second one does not. You are not able to get as direct a blow on this attack, and it glances off to the side.
And I would like to expend a key point to do flurry of blows.
You can do that.
Excellent.
Oof.
Oh, unfortunately, that one is
Beans.
also a miss. You've got one more.
All right. Like I said, Zelmira is functioning in a semi-catatonic state.
That'll do it.
That will definitely hit.
And I rolled an 18.
An 8. Yes.
I don't know if we want to call out numbers. I don't know. What the plan is.
hey, why not?
And so that was 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And the first one was also 6, so 12 total.
Alrighty, 12 total. Pong! Pong! And that is going to be the end of your actions. Do you have a bonus action or any more movement you wish to do?
Is it not the case that Flurry of Blows is my bonus action?
It is.
So nope, that's it.
Well remembered. Jax.
Thank you. I did just read it, so don't want to brag.
Jax gets a little bit excited and summons his weapons into his hand, these psychic blades. But when he looks to his right hand, he realizes it's not a blade. It's like this psychic whip.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And I will whip out towards this creature here.
Okay. What's the... is this flavor?
Flavor.
Flavor, got it. Okay.
And I feel some inspiration coming on, so I'm going to use my inspiration.
Okay.
For a 24 to hit.
That is a hit.
And the damage is only 6 on the green. Magical damage. And I pull it 10 feet towards me.
Ha! You pull it 10 feet towards you. It gets to the edge. It gets to make a dexterity saving throw to try and hold on to the edge. Let's see how it does. It's rolled a 15, which is enough to beat the DC that I set for this. So it managed to scrabble and hold on to the edge, but it is,
So
we would call that
5
prone.
foot right now, isn't it?
From where he was.
10 foot would be here.
10 feet, okay. So he's on the edge there, scrabbling down. He's about 10 feet below you all at that point. And we will call him prone.
Okay.
While he is scrabbling on the edge there.
And I look to yellow, and I use my bonus action to just stab him with my
Got it.
psychic blade.
Can you do a bonus action attack without doing a weapon attack?
It just says bonus action, and I'm just looking at my bonus action. It says you can attack with an offhand.
Well, but
have a look.
that is only if you take the attack action. You
Right.
cast a spell, right?
I did, yeah.
So you cast a spell, you can't then take an attack action. Your
Right.
bonus. If you attacked with if you took the attack action, then that's when you're able to use the bonus action as an attack.
Right, gotcha.
You
Okay,
have a
I
light
will
weapon equipped.
bonus action, duck down, and hide if I can.
Okay,
Obviously not
little
from the one
difficult, but
by
it's
yellow.
certainly not going to
Can't hide from
say that
yellow.
you can't.
But I will hide
hide from yellow.
I was trying to hide
No
from,
one can.
from the others with 21 stealth.
21. All right. In the chaos of battle, you feel as if your larger companions are covering you fairly well.
Let's be done.
So are our companions like taking damage and getting reduced armor class, but they don't move or take actions or do anything else in the combat?
Yeah, that seems a little unfair, doesn't it?
Especially since we're gonna need some healing.
Yeah, they have initiatives of 0 and 1. Yes.
Yes, quite so. Thank you for calling that out. I have their character sheets right here. Why don't I just roll some initiative? So, did they make it on there?
I don't see that.
Didn't have a token selected.
It didn't
but
have
we
a token
can
selected.
Keep it after the monsters and
Yeah, I'm just rolling it to put them on the board so then I can change it. So blarp and
I like blarp. That's a good one. Blarp.
maybe for mechanics' sake, just set them at 2 and 1.
Yep, I like that idea. So we'll have Falkren go at 2, and we'll have Persephone go at 1. But before they go, there is a sound coming from this area here, and you see a large bipedal one of these creatures come around as one claw comes around the corner, and the other claw comes around, and a very large mandibular mouth as it looks towards the group, and the antennae swirl back and forth, and it comes stalking towards you all to here. And
Small note, I do not see the token.
yes, that's because it is on the GM layer. Now you should see it. And it shoots out a spray of something that looks extremely caustic.
Can I not see it again?
Is it?
No, he's yeah. I gotcha.
Oh, like yeah. Let me change its angle here for a minute.
It can definitely get one more creature in there.
See, I need to make that not a drawing. There we go.
Oof.
You notice it spray over one of the creatures, but it seems unaffected. However, it does encompass Jax, Rim, Persephone, and Typhon. And you will all need to make... let me just double check here. Yes, you all need to make dexterity saving throws, please.
How big is the aura? Are we out of, or am I out of aura?
You are out of aura.
Son of a butt nugget. All right. All right, that's all right.
Okay, so Jax, 13 is a failure.
My ring kicks in then, and I use
Okay.
a charge.
Got it. Falkren has failed with a 1. And Persephone has failed with a 9. Oh my goodness. So anybody who rolled below a 15 has failed, I should say. If you succeed, you take half of 10 points of acid damage. If you failed, you took all 10 points. The acid shoots out in a wide cone that lands on all of you, but it also hits the rope above you, which sizzles away and is now 15 feet higher up. That is its turn, and then I believe it was last on the turn tracker, except for Persephone and Falkren. Falkren, let's see here. I'm going to take care of their damage here quickly. 10 point. Rim, don't forget, I do believe you are wearing something that gives you resistance to acid damage.
Am I?
I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. That could be some other game.
I'm pretty sure you're making that up.
Okay.
The answer is yes, Rim. The answer is yes.
I am in my heart.
Fair enough. All right. So that brings us to Falkren. Falkren immediately casts Bless. Let's see. Falkren's got a lot of spells left on her thing here. She is going to cast Bless at 4th level, which will cover everybody, I do believe. So 3 people, so 6 total at 4th level. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everybody, right?
Missing 1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who's? Oh, Silas.
It's down in the corner.
Gets
That's
everybody.
okay. I
Gets
am
everybody,
off in the corner.
Yeah,
so.
gets everybody around her. So everybody around her is blessed, including herself. That is her action, and she is concentrating on that. And that is her turn. Persephone. Whew, lots to do. Persephone uses a bardic inspiration to do a blade flourish. And she attacks Purple in front of her with her rapier.
I happen to know that Persephone keeps her weapons in great shape by using rogue steel. Great company.
Yes, indeed. And that's actually something you could say about Persephone's player too. But she hits with a dirty 20. I'm going to roll a d8 for her defensive flourish. So it actually does even more damage than that. It does a total of 13 damage. Then she attacks again. Her AC has gone up by 5. And her second attack. Hits also, doing 10 more points of damage to the one in front of her. And then she moves to the side here. She's going to risk it. Her AC is really high. She moves over here to get into Silas's... Well, she can't see that, but she knows that somehow being close to Silas, things feel safer. She takes an attack of opportunity from Orange, who tries to bite her, but doesn't even come close to getting through to her AC. That is her turn done. Now we will reorder, and at the top of the turn, we have Rim.
All right. Sean, am I able to, with a bludgeoning attack, knock them back? Can I use that, make a concerted effort to knock
So
them
what
back?
you're doing there is called a pushing attack. It is the same as a grapple, and it allows you to either push them down to prone or push them back 5 feet.
Okay, and so these things over in this area, these are pits, right? Like I can knock them down into pits.
They are pits. What is your dark vision?
60 feet.
You cannot see the bottom.
Oh, that's good. And also terrifying. All right, so the green one is prone, right?
Yes, the green one is about 10 feet below where you currently are, scrabbling on the side. It's very loose rock and corroded metal here. It will need to climb out in order to be a threat, but it is below you.
I wouldn't be able to make a bludgeoning attack with my weapon with it 10
Not
feet
unless you have reach.
below. I don't. All right, then I'm going to take a step here, and I will try to knock purple into the pit.
All right, go for it. It will make a contested grapple attack. Going to try and resist you with its strength.
So it's a quarterstaff attack, right? I'm sorry.
You were rolling an athletics check.
An athletics check. Gotcha,
Yes.
gotcha. That is a 24.
I felt really good about the 19 that I rolled, but it is not enough to beat that.
So that should knock it into the pit, right?
So you push it, and it goes towards the pit. It gets to there. I'm going to allow it a dexterity saving throw to scrabble onto the edge, which it fails. You hear the sound of it scrabbling desperately to the sides of the wall, echoing back and forth throughout this chamber as it falls and is apparently out of the fight.
And then with my... that doesn't count. Okay, that's an athletics check. Does that count as an attack so I can make a second one?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Then I'm going to take a step in here, and I will try to do the same with the orange.
He also tries to resist you with his strength.
Yeah, he might. That's only a 10.
I have rolled a 12.
You have succeeded. Gosh, darn it.
So it digs its heels into the ground, and a leg lashes out to grab onto the leg of the larger one, and
Wait a minute.
resists.
I'm blessed.
You are.
Too blessed to be stressed.
Too blessed to be stressed. I'm also, 5, 10, 15. I'm also in Silas's aura.
No, you're not.
What? 15 feet, right?
It's only 10.
10 feet.
Your aura needs to be bigger.
We're not even going to touch that. That's...
All right. So that would make it a
12.
12.
Defender always succeeds.
All right.
Good tie.
I'm done.
All right. Bring us to Typhon.
All right, I'm gonna scoot up here next
Okay.
next to Zelmira, and I will look at my hand and use the sort of spider-like ring. I'll smile a little bit first at it, making me think of Eastland, and then extend the hand as a scorpion-like, sort of snake-like tendril of energy goes out and wraps around, or attempts to wrap around the big monster here.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have last week's inspirations and such?
Not the
Or-
D6s, but the normal ones.
The
Yeah.
regular ones? Okay, all right. I will use my inspiration.
As do I.
then. No, you don't. All right. With a 21 to hit.
You have hit with a 21.
Cool. I will deal 8 points piercing damage. I will also expend a usage of the thing I always forget to do with my power surge. Deal an extra 4 points of force damage. 12, and I will pull it exactly the amount of distance necessary to put it right in the center of this hole.
Well,
it says up to 10 feet. It doesn't say 10 feet. So however many inches it needs to be dragged to be exactly.
I understand.
I get that it makes a save. I'm just saying.
what was that damage again?
12 total.
12 total.
Magical
All right,
damage.
so
Yeah.
it wraps around the creature and pulls it right into the side there. It reaches out with its claws to try and grab the side. I'm going to roll this with advantage because of inspiration. And that was a fail. But that is a success with a 21. So thank you for whoever gave me inspiration last week. It came in very handy as this creature is still up. It is large enough that it is still a threat, although I will say that it is technically prone. Yeah, all right. Easier to just stick with the way the thing
falls a few feet down, right? 10 feet down. Isn't that what happened to the last one? Or
it's a little different because it's larger.
Okay.
I will say that it is prone, and it'll have to take some time climbing up and all that. But I mean that's all part and parcel with it.
Am I in its threat range? Can I take a 5-foot step back, or?
Given its current situation, you are not in its threat range.
All right, cool. I'll do this and end my turn.
Alrighty. Silas.
I am going to once again brandish my magical weapon, Iranian, my glaive, and attempt to strike the strange insect creature thing in front of me.
Very well.
The first strike was only a 10 to hit.
Unfortunately, that does not hit, as even with the magic of your blade, the armor of this creature managed to turn it aside.
And I'm going to, using the maneuvers that I learned while I was estranged from my goddess, I'm going to use precision attack as a battle maneuver, and once again use my extra attack with Iranian. This would be at advantage, though.
15 is not a hit, so roll that advantage.
We got some lag happening.
I'm sorry, it would be the
over there.
superiority die.
Superiority die got an advantage, yeah. Superiority die is a 1.
Oop.
Which unfortunately does not clear the AC.
And
Okay. So, now it is the turn of the creatures. The one that you are attacking, are you wearing any metal at all, Zelmira?
I don't believe so, but I will double check that for you. The only thing that I have that would be metal is my amulet of health.
Silas, just remember you're blessed.
He's not, actually.
He's not blessed. He's the one who's not. So, even though you are, even though you are attacking it, the prospect of fresh, unrusted metal in its presence, there's just still some strips on Falcon that look particularly tasty. It reaches out to bite her, hitting with her new AC. And the bite is extremely strong, and Falcon cries out in pain as she takes 17 points of piercing damage. And then its antenna lash out to get the last bit of her metal goodness. I don't know.
Or copper locks.
Yes. She has rolled an 11, which is not good enough. That's another -2, so it's a total of -6. I believe that is plate. Or is plate 18? Plate is 18. Plate is 18. So there's still armor left. The yellow goes for it. Yellow attacks with its bite. All right. Hitting the new AC with a 15. Because Falcon's current AC is 14. 16 points of piercing damage. Falcon cries out in pain again. And tries to make a dexterity saving throw. Oh, I'm going to roll a d4 for her bless. Oh, wait. Okay, so she took the damage. Took the damage for things, so she needs to roll a concentration check for the first amount of damage. She succeeds. Now she gets to roll a d4 to add to her saving throw against the rust monster. She rolled a 4, which is enough to clear it, so she does not take damage, which means that the second attack misses. Okay. So that is done, but she does still have to make her dex save from the second one's antenna attack, and she rolled a 4. There's no way that she can come back from that, so she is down to AC 14. There is one down here next to you, Jax. It uses half of its movement to stand.
I'm hidden as well.
You're hidden as well, and you don't. You have any metal on you, Jax?
No, I'm all psychic damage stuff.
Leather armor, is it studded leather armor?
I've studied leather, yes.
Studded leather, anything on you that is metal at all? Weapons?
No weapons, no.
A crowbar?
Studded leather count as metal?
Crowbar.
I mean, I always thought that the studs in the leather were metal, and
I've got a bag of holding those, so all my stuff's in a bag of holding.
Good point. Good point. Can't smell that. All right. Well, let's see. We'll let Klaus decide. On a Kraken, it detects the studs in your leather. On a 1, it does not. Or yeah, it does not. So it scrabbles up and doesn't see you there. Steps right over you and moves to Falkren and attacks. Hitting with the new AC, Falkren gets a huge chunk taken out of her leg. She is barely standing. And the antenna come out. Falkren tries to dodge out of the way. She succeeds. She doesn't even have to roll bless. So she's still holding on to bits of her armor. That is its turn. This one goes to attack you, Rim. Any metal on you, Rim?
No, I am pretty much naked.
That's right. That's a good point. Dragonborns. So it tries to bite you, hitting AC 9. And I will need... that's going to just do 2 bites. The second one's a 25.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Only 9 points of piercing.
Still ouch.
And that is it for the rust monsters. Zelmira. Blood is streaming from Falkren as the armor on her is in ribbons and tatters, and she is standing scrabbling on top of this sort of hill of rubble, looking a little panicked. She needs to make another concentration check. Do bear with me. Bless is still up. Zelmira.
So Zelmira is just kind of blindly and methodically attacking the chitinous creature in front of her, in the same manner as before. So she is going to again use her fists to attack.
Okay.
And that is an 18.
Successful hit.
All right, and
On pink.
yes, on pink. Gonna do
Alrighty.
another one on pink, 24.
That is a successful hit.
And then I will be using another key point to do Flurry of Blows.
Very good.
Sorry, just getting to the right thing. All right, that first one is a 9.
Oh, and it's max damage on the roll too. That sucks. Sorry.
Beans. All right. And
Well, not max damage. Good
the
damage.
second is 22.
That does hit.
Awesome. So a total of 15 damage.
15 damage. Got it. Any movement?
Nope. Again, she's just kind of acting without thought.
All
It's
right.
like very clear she's just wailing on this thing.
Got it. Jax.
Already hidden from green, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. I will attempt to stab it.
Alrighty.
I don't know why that didn't
That
roll
rogue
with
damage. Woo!
29 to hit.
It is a hit.
Okay. That is 33 damage.
Jesus. Jumping up, completely unaware you were there, you slash at this thing, carving a huge chunk out of its underbelly, which appears to be unarmored. From your vantage point hidden down, you're able to see as it crawled over you, and you're like, ah! And you just, and a large amount of just ichor and goo just pops out as it whirls around to attack you next turn. Anything else?
Dead.
Not dead.
I bonus attack it. Bonus action attack it and with my other
Go for it.
blade. Why is it so hard to find on here? Here we go. 15.
Ooh, 15. It does not hit.
I will use a psychic dice
All right.
for 19 to hit.
That does hit.
Without obviously the sneak attack, so it's 8 damage.
With that blow, so you slice into it and then put your psychic blade up to it and use your... I don't know. Well, you describe it. This is the blow that kills this creature.
It goes to miss. As he stabs out, it goes to miss, but then he comes around with like a back sort of stab to stick this psychic it's not invisible, but this magical blade of psychic energy straight into its back end. Not that sort of back end.
Up the butt! And it is dead. Okay. Anything else, Jax?
I could move, but that would provoke. I think that is me done.
Alrighty. Greater Rust Monster goes, and it uses half of its movement to stand up from prone, and it begins to crawl up the area in the middle here, coming to here, and it is going to attack you, Jax. It doesn't... First of all, I need to see if it gets back its breath weapon. We'll roll a d6. Uh-oh. It does. So...
Well, spit.
Indeed. Spit indeed. As it turns, it is going to spit acid, and it is going to hit, I believe, everybody in that area there. Jax, Falkren, Zelmira, and Typhon. I will need dexterity saving throws from all of you.
Blessed dexterity saving throws.
Yes.
Oh. Whew.
You have
15.
succeeded, Jax.
Can I just quickly roll a bless thing? 16 wouldn't have hit, would it?
No.
No, okay. Am I fine? 17?
Dexterity save. Falkren has rolled an 8. Oh, well. No, can't win even with bless. That's going to be... So anybody who rolled below a 15... There's nobody... So, alright, so, the damage is... Oops, that's the wrong die. 10 points again. And that's going to be a con save for Falkren. Thank you for the reminder. Ooh, that is a 5. That means bless falls.
Ooh.
Indeed. Oh, indeed. And that is it done. Jax,
Sean.
yep,
Sorry, I stepped away for a minute. Do I need to roll a dex save?
you sure do.
Okie doke. Well, then I certainly will.
And at the time you rolled the dex save, you would have still been blessed, so.
Okay.
Oh, you are fine.
26.
With a 26, not a problem.
Cool.
And the creature stands towering over Jax and Falkren, who appears to be barely alive.
As
Barely
a
standing.
point of order, Falkren has Shield Master feat,
Yes, which does
adding their shield bonus to dex saves,
Oh,
and
well.
they can use their if they succeed,
Reaction?
they can take their reaction to take no damage from a dex save.
So she rolled an 8 on her
So
dex
it's
save.
a 10.
So that would have been a 10. So even if she'd rolled a 4 with the bless,
Okay.
she would have still missed.
Just checking.
But that's good to know. Thank you. That is the Rust Monster's done. Falkren whips out a healing potion and drinks it. Gaining back that many hit points. And then she touches herself, screams in agony as the magic of her spell kicks in as she casts Cure Wounds upon herself at 4th level.
Something's
One
painful.
bonus ouchies. As the unfortunate blessing of the Maiden of Pain racks her body.
Indeed. She almost falls to her knees. The level of pain is incredibly intense, but she grits her teeth and takes it. Persephone nimbly steps around you, Rim, and attacks the creature to your north here with her rapier. She attacks once, which is a hit, and she attacks twice. 2 hits, dealing that much damage. And that, I believe, will bring us back to the top of the order.
All right. Rim will step forward, grabbing his massive bow between his hands, and he concentrates on his father and the sparring that his father taught him, and he is going to make another contested athletics check, and he's going to use his inspiration, so advantage
On the large one?
on the large one, trying
Okay.
to knock him down.
Got it. Mighty Rim versus the Greater Rust Monster.
That is a crit!
Oh, goodness. And I roll a dirty 20. Almost as good.
S is for suck it.
And so you are able to just sort of pile drive into this thing and push it. Real good. Where do you push it?
Into the pit.
Okay.
You're so pushy.
Push it real good. Bum, ba-dum, bum.
Yeah.
No, just
And
okay.
no, I
No,
totally
I'm
heard
totally
it.
with you.
Okay, good.
totally heard
Okay, good.
I'm a child of the 80s.
Once again tries to scrabble out and does succeed with a 19. It is on the edge. Prone again.
Then I'm going to use my second attack to take a step forward and make a second.
Very good.
Now, because it is prone,
It is at advantage.
huzzah!
Go all Scar on that, Mufasa.
That will be a 20.
I rolled the
penalty, don't-
Kraken butt. So that
Aha!
means that you succeed and you just. What do you say? Or what do you do?
He just looks directly at the rust monster and grits between his teeth. Fall.
There's a huge crash from below as it takes a big old chunk of damage.
Infinity damage.
Let's see. Okay. Big chunk of damage. However, you can hear echoing from below. It is still alive. Anything else, Rim?
No, I'm good.
Alrighty. Typhon.
Righty then. May I have a? I think I actually have one. Lightning bolty. Can I?
It is.
Can you make this not a drawing, please? Or a drawing?
Making it a drawing. It's a drawing.
Make it. You know what I mean. Aha. So I can do the thing.
Julie,
Zap it
do the thing.
Yes. Oh man, that's a beautiful. You're gonna get 3 of them with that. With
Yes.
a 1, with a natural 1, a 13, and a natural 20. So we're gonna go right in order. Natural 1 failed. It's pink. Yellow failed, and blue succeeded.
Okay. Let's roll it. Where are you? Here we go. I am 30
30.
as a damage roll.
Once again, light cascades around this chamber as you hear the sibilant sounds of Typhon's spell as lightning shoots out of his face, and he says,
Bug zapper.
"Power! Unlimited power!"
I'm sorry, you just got a copyright hit against you.
Sorry. Oh, yeah, I owe a little bit to Disney. I apologize. And so he succeeded. And it's half. Anything else, Typhon?
Nope, I'm good. As long as Pink doesn't go all Mace Windu against me, I'm good.
Silas.
I'm going to attack the bug that is next to me. and
Lightning
first
energy
thing-
just shot past you, nearly hitting your nose.
Sure did. I am striking with Iranian.
No longer blessed.
15 to
15
hit.
is not enough.
I wasn't blessed at all, so I'm
that's
really getting sick of this thing.
Oh my god. It is not your night, Silas, as
You can be
this thing
precise, right? Still?
jumps
That-
back
that's-
and forth, dodging every blow as you try to pin it against the wall. Instead, it tries to bite you.
Well, I'm going to action surge.
Oh, well then in that case, it will wait.
You can't
'cause I
roll
really need to
15
take
and
this
9
thing out.
again, can you?
27 to hit, 5
That-
slashing magic damage,
It's definitely a hit.
and the extra attack. Boink.
You got this. You got this.
And I'm going to
16.
precision that.
Precision that, okay?
So. Not a 1. Yes, that is a 20 to hit.
That is a hit.
11
Yay.
slashing damage.
11, and that kills it.
Oh, it does. Oh, goody. I didn't
How would
think
you
it
like to narrate the end of this extremely pesky rust monster?
Grumbling in annoyance as I'm separated from my companions. I continue stabbing, and finally, as it was about to rear up and attack me, I went low and hoisted it upon Iranian, the glaive,
Indeed.
slicing it neatly. And then I'm going to use my movement to scoot closer. 5, 10, 15, 20, just to get up right next to Rim and this other rust monster that's still alive. And then I'm done.
Alrighty. Okay, now it is the rust monster's turn. Rust monster number 1. Here.
It has decisions to make.
It's too dumb to make a tactical decision like that, as much as I would like to. With a 2 intelligence, it would not think to do that. What it does think to do is try to bite you twice, Rim.
Okay.
First hitting AC 14,
That's a miss.
with the second one hitting AC 19.
That does hit.
You take 18 points of piercing damage.
18!
Yes.
I'm in trouble, guys. That's mean.
Sorry. Let's see here. Yellow attacks still going for the metal on Fulcrum. It bites at her, hits her, doing 14 points of damage. And then its antenna strike out, and she attempts to jump out of the way with a natural 20. She is managing to keep on a little bit of the armor. Metal is still on her. The creature directly to her north is barely alive and just sort of claws at her anemically with tries to bite at her. Missing. Yes, missing. And then she tries to dodge out of the way. Let's see. So what does the shield do? She gets to add her shield bonus.
To what? To
Dexterity
dex saves
saving
that
throw?
target her.
Dex saves that
only-
target her, and target her only.
And then if she succeeds on a saving throw to take half damage, she can use her reaction to take no damage.
Well, she's not taking damage from this, but it only gets her to 14, which means that the antenna hit her, and she loses the rest of her armor. She is now armorless. And that will bring us to Zelmira, as the others are dead.
Okay, so Zelmira is still squaring off with the pink one, the one that she has been fighting, and will continue again to just whack away at it. Again, blind, unseeing.
1,000-yard stare, just
Yes, 1,000-yard stare over and over and over and over.
okay.
Nothing is registering.
Well, unfortunately, you have missed with that attack.
Yes, so I'll take my second. And 17.
That is a hit.
Great. And then I
on pink?
will... Yes, it's on pink.
So
and...
with that blow, you stave in its head, and it is dead. Just over and over again hitting it. You didn't even register as a blast of electricity shot over it, electrifying it. You happened to not be touching it at the time, but you missed it by seconds. By split seconds, and you just keep pounding it. Finally, your fist goes right through its eye socket, and it is dead.
And Zelmira is just kind of collapsed on her knees in front of the now dead creature with, like, again, not really 1,000-yard stare, but just, like, you can see, if you noticed, like, tears streaming down her face, but she is entirely oblivious to anything else happening.
Okie doke. That will bring us to Jack's Dark Shade.
I will stabbeth the yellow one in front of me.
I will stabbeth.
Stabbeth you with a natural 20.
That will.
Yes.
30
Well,
to
that
hit.
might be a little bit more
Stab it.
than you needed to do.
Hang
Good
on.
lord.
46, 57, 63.
Ain't no crit like a rogue crit. And, of course, knowing exactly where to stab it, having seen how successfully the other one fell, this one, you roll right up under it and just... and its guts pour out onto the ground.
And then I will throw the other blade at the one next to Persephone.
All right.
For 27 to hit.
Another hit.
For 8 psychic damage.
8 psychic damage. Got it. Anything else, Jax?
Nope, that's me done.
Alrighty, it's going to bring us to Falkren.
Armorless.
Armor. Oh,
You're waiting for Ryan.
kept waiting for Falkren to roll or do something.
She was looking for a door, Sean. She couldn't find it.
There's none here. Oh, I'm sorry, Falkren. There's not a door to be seen.
How about a window? A window?
No windows.
With the little dwarf legs sticking out.
All of these creatures are dead. Falkren. She's going to cast Toll the Dead on Orange. Orange will make a Wisdom saving throw, failing with a 4. She rolls. Wow,
Whoa.
what a good Toll the Dead. That's amazing. 20 points is enough as this creature is continuing to fight. Both it has its mandibles around your leg, just tearing it to ribbons, Rim, as all of a sudden it withers and dies with a king on the ground, and it is dead. And that is the end of all of the creatures that you can see at the moment. Persephone comes to the edge and looks down, peering, and she looks down and she cannot see, but she makes a perception check at any rate. What is the range of Fairy Fire?
30 feet, I believe.
30 feet. Let me double check.
60.
60 feet. She looks down, and you could see a ball of energy beginning to form in her hand as she peers down, and she decides not to cast. Instead, she makes a perception check.
Perception check.
She looks down and she shouts out, "I can't see it, but I know it's down there. I don't know, maybe 90 feet or so. Hard to tell with the echoes." And that's going to bring us to Rim.
I'm going to hold an action. I'm going to hold my breath weapon, and when I see it coming up on the side, I'm going to spray the side of the wall it's climbing to make it difficult to ascend.
Very cool. Alrighty, Typhon.
I will move over and interesting. Okay. Can I have dark vision. If I look
You
over
do.
the edge, can I see it?
What is the range? 60
My
feet?
dark vision, 60-foot dark vision.
You can see it.
Okay, then I will use a new spell as the sort of green snake-like eyes flash. A bit of energy appears behind me, and will cause it disruption in its mind using the Mind Sliver cantrip.
All right. This is an intelligence save, I believe.
It is.
Oh dear. That's not good for me. I have an 8.
That is a failure. It will take 7 psychic damage and must subtract a d4 from its next saving throw.
All right. Mind spiked. We will say. That looks a little mind spiky. We'll do that. All right, Typhon. Anything else?
No, that's good.
I would ask that you did you move up and cast and then move back?
I did.
Okay, that'll bring us to Silas.
Okay. Am I able to easily see the creature?
With 60 feet of dark vision, yes.
But it's 60 feet down.
Yes.
I just want to make sure since it is on the map now. Verifying that it didn't scrabble up at the last minute. Legendary.
No, it
action
is.
or something.
It had to use half of its action to stand, and then has moved its speed, its climbing speed, up the side.
That being the case, I will hold an action to use my attack action if it moves within melee range, which is extended due to
Gotcha.
Iranian. I am holding.
Zelbira, you are still prone and not really focusing on.
Yep.
Do you wish to pass turn? Dodge
I do
action?
wish to pass turn. Yeah.
All right. So dodge action, nothing. You're just going to sit there.
I mean, I think that she is just totally lost, and she's clearly seeing things that are not actually happening.
Okay. Jax.
I will bonus action hide
All right.
when I find stealth for a 22.
You feel pretty stealthy.
I will look over the edge and take I will throw a blade at it.
All right. It is. What's the range on the blade?
60 feet.
And you got it.
And can it see me?
It cannot.
Good. Natural 20 again.
Oh dear Lord.
You're on
What's
fire.
a DM to do?
Die.
So that's 20.
DM to do in the face of such mindless
49,
hate.
57, 61 damage.
Jesus. Well, the blade goes spinning down, driving itself into the carapace of the creature, disappearing, and there's a loud crack as large pieces of its carapace detach and fall away down below, but it is still coming as it growls and screams in great rage and pain.
I will throw... Oh, no, I can't do a bonus action because I obviously hid, but I will move... So I moved 5 already. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 to there.
All right. It continues on its turn to take the dash action to try and climb up. It is a climbing speed of 30, but at the end of its turn, it is just at the lip. Before it gets there, there are going to be first Rim's held breath weapon.
So, okay, would I be able to DM rule? Would I be able to hit it and the wall to make it both difficult to climb and do ice damage to it? Your call. If I can only do one or the other, I'm gonna try.
I'm gonna say one or in order to make it slippery, you have to focus the breath enough away from it that it doesn't take. It doesn't. You're also the sides of these walls. I mean, this is Avernus. There's heat emanating from the wall. It's going to take all of your concentration to create.
Fair enough.
A slick
That is
of ice.
what I do.
All right. That being the case, when it gets to that spot, it becomes difficult terrain, so it doesn't get up any faster, but I'm going to also say it needs to make a climbing check to see whether or not it can find purchase, as it has now become very treacherous to walk there. So a athletics check to hold on.
With a minus.
I have a 7. That is with a minus D4. So that's a 6. It reaches the ice on the wall and falls. And you see as it does, acid shoots up in the air as if it was getting ready to bleed acid on you all again. And it falls again the same distance. Well, I was going to say there's no way, but there's always a way. And you hear a loud crack from the bottom and no more sound, as it appears that fall has done in the creature. That is the end of combat. You all look at each other, some of you somewhat worse for wear than others, but Falkren is nearly in tears, both from the pain she has endured, but also holding the tattered remains of her once beautiful full plate armor.
Guessing the mending cantrip won't work on that. What was that?
No, and I did not mean to play that. Never mind.
I was like, ooh, immersive.
It's a walk-on.
Pay no attention to that one. That was
The walk-on from a horse.
That's right.
I was like, what was that? Some sort
Look
of
at that
elf
horse.
creature?
Look at my horse.
I
Simply
imagined
amazing.
it was like a flying, bony, horrible horse from hell.
Indeed.
Don't wish that on us. That can happen.
I mean, it wasn't a wish so much as just, a
So-
thought.
Don't you
As you
put
all
that
stand
on
there.
me, Ricky Bobby.
Persephone removes part of her armor and just goes, fuck. Ching! Throws it on the ground. Whose idea was it to come down here?
We need the Titan blood, Persephone.
Right. Well, we got
Besides,
plenty of
keep that.
Falkren
There
blood.
There may be magic we can use to mend this armor.
She holds up the pieces and just, they crumble into rust in her hands. She goes, really? Stalks over and begins rooting around some of the corpses, picking up part of their carapace and sort of like putting it on her body and seeing if it will serve as armor.
Did she abandon her armor, Sean?
Her armor is destroyed. As is Falkren's.
Persephone's and Falkren's? Okay.
Persephone's is destroyed. Falkren's is destroyed, as is Silas's. They have no armor. The easiest thing to do is probably to remove it from your equipment.
Mine had a little bit left.
Did it?
Yeah.
I will take
I
your
didn't
word
go all
for
the way
it.
down to 10.
Okay,
Did I?
then no. So it's as the AC bonus that the armor conveys. If the AC bonus goes to 0, then it is destroyed.
I think
Armor
you still
doesn't
got
give
plus
AC.
2.
What? How does that work then? Because, like, plate is 18, so it doesn't give you plus something. It's just 18.
So at 18. So if it goes down to above 10, if it goes down to 10, then it is gone. So
I was at 12. So
you were at 12. So it's still at 12. If
I
it's,
I have tattered chainmail, but it's still helping me more than not having it at all.
yes, indeed. Is music playing?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, as long as you all can hear it, I cannot. But all good.
I am going to move close to Rim, who seems to be quite hurt.
He is.
And I'm going to break one of the beads of prayers, which will result in a level 2 cure wounds. 16 points
Nice.
to Rim.
He looks up gratefully at you and manages a weak smile.
And I believe that leaves me with just one prayer bead left.
Okay. Persephone looks around, looks over at Zelmir, and it's like, "What's with her?"
Rim will walk up to Zelmira, and he will kneel in front of her. She's on her knees, and he will just very gently put a finger of his claw under her chin and slowly lift it up to meet his gaze. And he'll say, "Where are you?"
And Zelmira just continues at this moment to stare forward. So, her eyes are fully silver, and so it's like difficult to see like where exactly she doesn't have like pupils, so it's like hard to see exactly where she's looking. But it's like very clear that if she could be looking somewhere like right off to the side of meeting his eyes, that's where she is focusing her attention.
Can he sense that she's not meeting his gaze, Sean? Do I have to make a perception check for that?
So this falls into the purview of role-playing.
Zelmira, look at me. Please. Whoever you're grieving for, they would be pained to know that you're putting yourself at risk thinking about them.
And Zelmira tilts her head somewhat and puts her eyes to meet Rim's and just says nothing, but is now staring directly into his eyes.
Please, Zelmira. Tell me about them.
Can't.
You must.
She shakes her head. Can't. And slowly rises and withdraws and walks away.
Rim grabs you by the shoulders before you do that, and he holds you in place.
What would they say to know that you are making your life forfeit by thinking about them? Is that how they'd want you to live your life?
Don't think she wants a sermon, Rim.
He's not gonna...
She tries to just shirk him off and again remove herself.
He's pretty strong.
She's quick though. So I don't know that, because I was wondering if she would have anticipated his grabbing her and then responded in that way.
That is up to you. You have described yourself as being catatonic and all that. If you are still looking to have this this amount of, if you want to have the facility to dodge out of it, then I will allow that and we will roll.
Well, I think so. What's interesting about this catatonia is, I'm going to say it's a word.
Catatonia.
Catatonia.
I've been there many times.
It's a great place. No, it's awful. I'm so sorry I said that. Rewind, forget it. But I think that
she's operating like on instinct.
Yes, and
So,
she
okay.
she operates on instinct, and that's why she was able to attack what she perceived to be a threat, and she would have perceived this.
All right,
as a
then I will need
threat.
a grapple check from you, Rim, to try to stop her movement.
All right.
And I will need an athletics or acrobatics check on your part, Zelmira, to escape.
Okay.
It's only a 10. I think you're going to be all right.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
19.
Right. So she rolls out of your grasp. You go to grab her, and she's not even there. And she continues on her way, and Persephone snorts in the corner, and she says, Rim, when a lady says no... She turns away, goes back to what she was doing.
Where do you go, Zelmira?
Fall, before you do that, just real quick here, Falkren looks around and sees what's all going on, and she says, I'm sorry, everyone. This will probably hurt. Please. She begins to do prayer of healing. And you all begin to feel just the tiniest bit pinprick of pain that begins to grow and grow and grow steadily over the next 10 minutes. And when it is absolutely unbearable, you all receive...
I'm standing away.
23 points of healing.
Nice.
So that's while this is all going on.
Falkren, the prayers and restorations are needed, but there is greater healing that needs to be done here. My words are too sharp. Yours... Well, it must be you to summon something within yourself, I feel. For the moment, Persephone is too far gone. Within whatever hell. Well...
What do you mean?
It seems...
If you haven't noticed, Typhon, it's hard down here. Maybe she just needs a little time. I'm having a lot of problems
that luxury,
myself.
nor do the souls you came down here to save. So bear it, bite down, grin harder.
What do you think I'm doing? What do you think all of us are doing? Enduring.
But you're not surviving.
One day at a time. And she goes off to an area over here.
We need to find what we're looking for. We're here for a reason.
Yes. Is there any reason to believe it would be down? Are we near a place where we may be able to rest and recover for some time? Is it like, if we like peek down these corridors, what do we?
You haven't peeking down the corridors. As you look down that area there, Typhon, you see. Before we move on here, was there anything else anybody wished to do to finish off anything? I get the sense that we moved on to some other things. Maybe some other things were unfinished.
No.
Come back to it later.
Okay. As you look down here, Typhon, you see that this appears to be a dead end, a larger chamber that housed the creature that came out. It is made of the same material as the rest of the area, although it is completely bare of metal. If somebody takes the time, as I'm assuming somebody does, to look over here, you find a small, narrow passage leading to an area, and looking up, you see a hole in the ceiling that would correspond with this hole here. As far as where to go from here, there appear to be only two choices that have yet to be unexplored. Yet to be explored. That have been unexplored, that are not... There are two choices.
We get you. Could we... I'm wondering about doing like a... Would anyone benefit here from a short rest?
So you haven't been in here all that long. But now that you have spent some time in here, the heat coming from the walls is significant. And as beads of sweat are forming, you have the impression that you are surrounded by layers upon layers upon layers of smoldering coals. That just the very surface around you seems to be cool enough to touch. However, a rest here will take a toll, much in the same way as being inside a sauna would.
I was just gonna make a sauna joke about tossing some water on the coals, and yeah.
I could rope trick, which would get us
there we
out
go.
of the heat.
Would indeed.
So,
Are you hurting for spell slots, or are you okay?
Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
Maybe in
DM,
here?
Go ahead.
Was I correct in understanding that the only two places we have not explored are down the holes?
Yes, down the holes.
I'm going to begin affixing rope to try to go down the hole, regardless of anything else going on.
Okay, so there has been discussion about a short rest. Rim suggests rope trick, but it appears that Silas is single-mindedly preparing for a descent.
Hell
Into
bent, as it
Avernus,
were.
even into Avernus, even.
Have we still got any rope?
That's a good question. About 15 feet of it have been destroyed by the spit from the large rust monster. So you had a significant amount of rope that you tied together to get your initial descent that you then retied to go even further down. In addition to that rope, was there any?
I couldn't find any rope in my backpack last week, but I've just been looking again and it's there. I have got rope. Sorry.
Okay. So in addition to, so you don't have access, you have the rope that is still tied up there, but you would have to figure out a way to get it because it is 15 feet up.
The imp could. Right?
The imp could do it. Yep, good call.
I've also
so
got
have,
rope myself. So
all right, so you've got that rope and you've got Jack's rope. So you do have the rope.
Right,
My
we'll
question has
untie
been
it,
answered.
I have 50 foot of hempen rope.
Well, I'll hold rope trick then until we.
So I take it we're not resting? Says Persephone.
It depends on... Well, we don't know what exactly is down there. Silas, would you be willing to rest a bit while some of us recover and prepare?
Short bit. But being in this thing, I don't like being here.
Why do a temporary respite from it?
Rim has cast rope trick before, so that might trigger a memory for Silas.
Silas isn't being like not listening to anybody. I'm just trying to get stuff done.
Oh, gotcha. All right, so
Yeah.
the rope is prepared for whichever way you go next, and it sounds like the group is going to try and find a rest in Silas's rope trick.
What
Not
is
Silas,
casting that?
Rim's rope
Rims.
trick.
Can I investigate these round things, or was they the rust monsters?
These were the things that they turned into rust monsters, so they are no longer there. Go ahead and remove them if you,
No, it's
not to confuse any of.
Well, while obviously that's getting prepped, this floor that we're on, I'm going to do a thorough search.
All right. Go right ahead.
Investigation?
Mm-hmm.
19.
Rocks and rust. That is all you find.
If we're taking a short rest, I will use a bonus action to recover one of my psychic abilities.
Very good. And as the spell is cast, the rope comes down, and you all are able to climb up into extra-dimensional space. Zelmira, unfortunately, this is somewhat familiar to you, as you knew someone else who had this very same spell. And up you go into the extra-dimensional space with a little window looking out into the room, and that is where we'll take our first break. The group sits in this bizarre extra-dimensional space created by the rope trick. It's very bubble-like. However, when you sit down against the wall, there is a sort of a ledge that allows you to sit. If you lie down, it sort of spreads out underneath you and becomes like a table-like. Outside around this area, you see a swirling gray misty void, which Zelmira you recognize to be the astral plane. And at the very bottom, in the center of what would be like the floor of this roughly spherical room, there is a little window that looks out into the still softly glowing red stone interior of the cavern that you have been traveling in. And there you sit for an hour. Persephone sits with her hands folded across her chest with a scowl. And Falcon looks lost in thought, just slowly moving her hand over part of her arm that was heavily armored until not too long ago. And if anybody else has anything they wish to say or do, you have this opportunity to do so.
Rim is going to sit near Zelmira, and he's going to stay silent as he sits next to her for a couple minutes, but then he's going to clear his throat. And it pains me deeply to watch you, Zelmira, because I was you. When I was young, my father made me my very first bow. I grew up in isolation, Zelmira. I only spent hours a week with my father, and the rest of my childhood was completely alone. So when I tell you that this bow was my only friend, I do not make that statement lightly. I slept with it. I talked to it. It never left my hands. My father and I, one day we went for a hunt by a waterfall, and I leaned too far over the edge to take a shot that I thought might impress him, and I lost my balance. My bow fell into the water. I was despondent for days. And when my father asked me why I was so attached to this piece of wood, I told him, it was from you. It was an extension of you. When I had it, you were with me. And he looked at me gently, and he said, Rim, the bow was a token. It is not meant to cause you pain. If you carry the spirit of the bow in your heart, then I will always be with you. My father died years ago. I have nothing left of his, but I know how much it would pain him to know I was living in grief. I remember him, Zelmira, and I miss him, but he's always with me. And so are those you lost. You have to purge your grief, Zelmira. That is the only way to honor their memory.
How long did you have your father after the bow?
I had him for 5 more years. I miss him every day. But he shaped the being that I am now. He is a part of me. Please, tell me how the one you lost is a part of you.
How did he die?
It was a sickness. I couldn't save him.
How would you feel if your actions had killed him?
Zelmira, do you love the person you lost?
How would you feel if your actions had killed him?
Rim reaches out and puts a claw over your hand.
There is light inside you, Zelmira. you would not have done anything intentionally to cause that kind of pain or death or loss. We can't always see the repercussions of the choices we make. But I see inside your heart. And I can tell you with confidence, they would not hold you responsible.
Zelmira removes her hand from under Rim's claw and just resumes staring out into a far off sort of place. She's got the 1,000-yard stare again.
He will sit silently with you.
The silence continues. And after an hour, Rim, you are forced to stir as you realize that the spell is coming to an end. And one by one, you emerge from the extra-dimensional space, hitting the ground as it pops out of existence. And I need to know what you want to do next.
I'm climbing down.
Can I actually say something before a spell pops out?
Of course. We'll rewind to
Maybe
a few
against
minutes
his
ago.
better instincts or whatever, but not sort of flipping through his spellbook, Typhon, his eyes will dart up and kind of look towards Zelmira, and she will say, you just say, "So how did you kill him? Or them?"
Just like idle conversation.
So, Zelmira, who while Rim had been describing the story of his father and their relationship, had, again, not really been looking at him and just kind of off in her thoughts, like listening but not giving attention. And when that question is addressed to her, she kind of snaps her head in the direction of Typhon's voice, and she says, "It wasn't anything I did specifically. They were protecting me. They thought they were protecting me. I wish that they hadn't. I wish I could trade places with them."
There's a stifled snort and giggle from Persephone as she covers her mouth at this exchange.
Zelmira takes out I imagine she has a little pouch that contains all of the pieces of the glass that broke from the trinket that Shane had given her. And hearing Persephone's laugh, walks over and drops it in front of her feet and says, "You told me you'd help me."
You said you'd do anything.
"Name your price."
I'll think about it.
"You told me you'd help me." And she pushes it towards her.
And you think this is the best way to make that happen?
And she just fixes a stony stare. "You told me you'd help me. Does your word mean nothing to you?"
I do the things I want to do. That's a realization I've just come to not too long ago. It seems to be the best way to go about things down here, what I want to do. I could be convinced that I want to help you.
Why did you offer your help? How recently did you come to this realization? Was it before or after you said that you could fix this?
Maybe I changed my mind.
So your word means nothing. And
I took
Zelmira
pity on you up
picks-
there. I took pity on you up there, but down here right now you seem a little less pitiable.
Zelmira just picks it up and walks away.
Well,
She shakes her head and shrugs.
it's my dagger, so I could do it.
Your dagger.
Yeah. I lent it to you, remember?
She looks at you and shrugs, holding onto it.
I could give it back afterwards.
Continues to stare at you, sort of a half smile.
What is the purpose of the bauble?
All I had left of someone very important to me. Not that it seems any of you would understand that.
It's not much for us to understand. Just a curly-haired illusion and some shattered glass. Pity if anything happened to you and there'd be nothing to remember any of them by. Or, well... How did you convince them to follow you then? These ones that died? Surely you bribed them or cajoled them into protecting your life? Is that what you feel so guilty about?
They believed they saw something in me.
Oh, did they?
Typhon's not one to see anything good in anyone. Unless, of course, you're some type of, I don't know, poisonous dark elf. But Zelmira, there is a story that I hold dear of a very carefree, smiling, happy, elvish woman. Her family betrayed her. Everything she loved was destroyed. Her heart had to become hard. She had to let go of youth. She is my goddess. You may miss someone like I have recently, lose people you care for. But you can find some type of temporary sanity, even here. Harden yourself and keep going.
She looks to Silas and walks over. My brother is still trapped here. I
Trapped
can
where?
save him. I can save his soul. He's trapped.
Saving souls is a complicated thing. Is he a good soul?
He was the best soul. Far better than me.
Good like Typhon is good at blasting enemies?
No, nothing like Typhon. Genuinely good. pure of heart. Endlessly kind.
And he is somewhere in Avernus, you say?
Yes.
Do you know where?
Probably in a coin.
She ignores. Was that Persephone? Sorry, you're playing so many people. She ignores Persephone. I feel so muddled, so confused. I can't remember right now. And she is only focusing on Silas. But I know he's trapped somewhere that with work I could get there. I could help him. I could free him. But I don't remember exactly where.
Well, of late, I haven't been all that good at handling souls. But if by word or deed I can get your brother back, then I will.
You'll help me?
It's what I do.
And your word means something. Not like... And she just looks over at Persephone and back to you.
She rolls her eyes.
You don't know it, but everyone else here knows that I would give everything I am to keep my word.
Okay. Okay.
Silas, didn't that dragon call you a drow? What's that about?
I've been called... Well, I haven't been called anything worse. But I'm fairly certain, Persephone, that once upon a stage you've been called a bitch and a louse. It doesn't make you one.
So am I not really a goblin?
The elite guard is still out on that, Jax, but I suspect that indeed you might be a goblin.
You are the best goblin.
I am a good goblin. I like baubles as well, Zarmira. I gave my Shora one. It was about this big and blue.
Speaking of Shora, not only do I feel that this respite is becoming tenuous, the city of Elturel awaits. This rest will soon be over.
I'm getting a bit hungry, if that's what tenuous means.
That's funny. DM,
Ten times as hungry as one US.
Are there any elves that have platinum hair besides Bro?
Yes, moon elves.
Platinum hair?
Yeah, moon elves.
Does
Typho want to ask me about it?
Typhon's
Are you thinking about it? You're thinking about it. Make a... Are you taking a very hard look at Silas?
We're all pretty close, right?
You are.
So I'm watching
Emotionally,
very
no.
carefully while that conversation is happening, and would being, a couple feet from someone and watching as they move and watching the nature of their hair and how their build and facial structure constitute an investigation check rather than just a perception check.
Unfortunately, it is still relying on what you can see as opposed to anything else. That would definitely be the primary method.
Right, but investigation can be searching through things. visually.
True.
Can I observe Typhon racially profiling me?
Right. If he was unconscious, I would allow investigation.
Okay.
Since you are looking at him moving and looking at him in action and can't get inches away from him, I will go with perception.
There's something I can do to help this. I don't think so. Nope. It's gonna be the regular one. All right, here we go. 3.
You look up, you have the thought, and immediately look down. Poppycock.
So, all right.
I mean,
So I get that I don't get
Baldur's-
anything from this, but can the thought remain?
Sure, the thought can remain. I mean, it's
'Cause-
it's input.
Yeah.
It's input. Perhaps there will be other input at some later date. To confirm or deny this possible turn of events. So that will be the end of Rope Trick. And everybody clambers out and looks at the two pits before you. Falcon looks and says, I guess these would have been the legs.
Shall we descend?
Right or left?
The one with the rope down it.
So far, I mean, unless Silas, that means you would have chosen right or left.
Big decision.
The one the creature did not go down, depending on your
Did
orientation.
not go down. All right.
The one I am now closest to.
Okay. You begin to climb down.
Do I go down first?
With the rubble and various rocks and outcroppings and such around here, it is much easier in this area to find a secure place to python the rope. Piton. And you begin to climb down this pit. With the rope, it is not very difficult. It is takes a long time. However, after about 20 minutes of descending, you do reach the bottom. As you get further and further down, a stench begins to waft up that gets more and more disgusting. Smell of excrement and vomit and just general decay and corruption as you make your way down till you finally reach the bottom. And it is the same stone, a bit more metal here as opposed to rust, but it is covered with slime and sticky foulness that makes you retch. You would all be so kind as to put yourselves here. Hopefully that shows up in your map.
Sorry, I'm not seeing.
Gotta zoom out.
I see.
Directly in front of you as you come down is a large pile of just garbage and vile sickness. And you can hear, coming from behind it, the sounds of scratching and whispering.
I think it would be a good idea if Persephone and Fulcrum stayed up top. We don't want any more of those creatures coming at us from behind.
Works for me. Falcon looks down at the long rope. Are you sure if you run into trouble down there? You're a long way from anything I can do to help.
And you're very fast.
At least it getting from the top to the bottom of something.
Ha ha ha. They stay up there, top. So as you're down here, you hear just
Jax?
It was like Jax.
Yes.
whispers and gnashing of teeth and clawing.
Can we see anything?
Make a perception check.
I shall do so. When I get back to my character sheet. There we go. 28.
28. Definitely something moving in and amongst the garbage. Perhaps on the other side of it, but you can't get a good look. I mean, it's just simply blocked between where you are now.
Can I see what shape it was, or?
It's a medium-sized creature. You with your perception, you can definitely hear words. Actually, how many languages do you speak, Jax?
He speaks common and goblin.
All right, so a couple of words of common, and then many languages you don't understand, and then a word in goblin.
What is that word?
Stupid.
10% off.
That was
Jax
very
is-
lawful.
Got him.
I will stealth forward.
All right.
Oh, natural 1, 14.
All right. You begin to come forward, and I think you. Yes, you feel pretty stealthy. Whether or not you are, it's nothing to do but find out.
Move forward. I can't see any.
So as you move forward, in and you're stepping gingerly around some of the larger pieces of garbage and trash and muck, you see a figure come into view. You've seen one of these before. It is hunched over and emaciated, but there are large spines sticking from its head and its back, and has long clawed fingers, and it is just sort of clawing in the goop on the floor, making bizarre designs. Does not appear to have noticed you.
God, it's that close. I'll turn around to Zelmira.
It's literally just there.
Is it?
No one comes here, so no one is here. And as these voice begins to speak, every other word or so seems to change into other languages as it's moving just through different languages. You all hear bits and pieces of what it says. So imagine that enough of it is getting through that you get a general gist of what is being said, but you will have to clarify amongst yourselves what exactly is said. But he says, no one comes here, so no one is here. No one but voices. Hello voices, farewell voices, loud voices, soft voices. What voices today?
Who hears voices today?
Name. No need for names.
What was its name?
He stands up, and you see now a truly wretched creature. Definitely a devil of some sort, reminding you of some of the spined devils that you have seen in particular the spined devil that Thalamra Vanthampur turned into. However, this one is much more wretched. It's got a long sort of beard and a tail. You could see every rib on its body, and its eyes are wide and crazed. And it stands up and looks at you all. Stands up to its full height, sort of arching its back, and looks down at its leg, grasps one of its spines, and rips it from its leg. And stabs it into its arm. And I am Uldrak of the Empyrean. Ask your questions. I will attempt to answer.
Who's that?
This, my friends, will be a skill challenge. Uldrak is very troubled and has different states of mind that he is moving in between. To keep him in a state of mind that is useful, we will need each of you to come up with a way to do this. You can do anything that you can think to do as long as it is a skill challenge that you can roll. And you cannot repeat a skill challenge that somebody else has succeeded on. So, who would like to go first in trying to communicate with Uldrak?
So, Sean, give me a little. He's in a fragmented state of mind, and what we're doing is trying to find.
You're trying to keep. He seems to be someone you can communicate in the state he is in right now at this moment, but he is reverting to whatever that was before, which seemed to not be all that useful in terms of getting information. So we will need you to figure out a way to keep him there. And if you can come up with a way to explain why you're using the skill that you're using, then that will be what we go with.
DM, quick question. Is it only skills, or is it any feat, spell, skill, etc.?
If you can come up with it, if you tell me what it is, that we'll take those on a case by case basis. Who wishes to go first, or I will roll?
I'll do it.
Oh, go for it, Peter.
Okay. Typhon.
My idea, maybe using sort of some tricky arcana, is to cast the message spell to him and do it repeatedly. So my intention is to keep saying words, or whatever words I can understand, sort of repeating them in his mind. So as he's talking, I keep drawing him back to the common language. So just by hearing it, he hopefully starts to instinctively respond in common by hearing sort of common running in his head. I don't know if it'll work.
That's an Arcana check. Absolutely.
Okay. I have rolled a 20.
Well, that is enough. You see him twitch at each repetition of the words he has just said. You repeat, ask questions, answer, and you repeat his name several times, and it seems to be enough to keep him in the moment. He keeps pushing the spine that he ripped off of his leg into his arm, as the pain is somewhat keeping him focused, and he seems to be receptive to a question. What would your question be?
Oh, so I got confused about the whole skill challenge thing.
I mean, it is a skill challenge, but with each success comes a question that you can ask.
Gotcha.
I would ask how we extract the blood of the Titan.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I will ask. We require your blood. How may we take your powerful Titan's blood?
I was once a Titan, the greatest warrior of Ildheim. My name was praised in the city of brass. My lord Sutor saw fit to bestow upon me his greatest blessing. I was his champion, sent forth to slay the Dragon Queen. No, we are small, we are insignificant and hidden. Her 10 eyes won't see us here. And there is no Titan here whose blood you can take.
It sounds as if we need to restore him.
Another skill check.
Next skill check, if I may, I will use my athletics to drive the spike into his arm in the way that focused his mind before. So trying to reenact the pain that brought him clarity.
Yeah, this would be a sense a grapple check. So that's going to be a athletics check. There's not going to be opposition, but the DC will reflect his withdrawing from you as you come clearly in some sort of aggressive stance.
All right.
So roll your athletics check.
Come on, big numbers. That'll be an 18.
An 18 is high enough. And you come forward, and he does try. You see, voices, painful voices, and he reaches back and lurches back, but you grab his arm and drive the spike even further, and he screams. Question. Ask your question of Uldrak.
So I'm still trying to figure out what we learned from the last one in terms of.
He said that he was a. You heard what he said. He spoke of an area. He spoke of a lord. He spoke of being a champion sent forth to slay something. But also that he was no longer a Titan.
And I also said afterwards that we may need to. Maybe he knows how we restore him, right? So I would have said that to the group as well.
Is that the next question we should ask, do you think? How can
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. How can we restore you to your former self?
No!
He starts to answer, and you could see that he wants to answer your question, but he is telling a story, and he's getting through it. He will get to it. But he says, I grew enormous with my lord's power. I strode across Avernus like a walking mountain. Uvarfod, my steed, rode upon my shoulder like a child. The greatest of her brood charged at me and scattered their corpses across Avernus. When we're too big to ride, we are ridden. Yes, ridden. Down go the colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But despite my size, my strength, we will move on to another skill challenge.
I've got no idea what to ask.
So, looking at what everybody's been doing, the goal is to get the right person to answer.
Yeah, it seems like there is a madness here, and he is focusing, trying to keep some semblance of sanity and getting through both a story and answers to your questions. But in order to keep him in the place, you will need to come up with a way to do this. To help him.
For my own edification and clarification, So he is saying that he was a Titan and is no longer a Titan? Or...
That is apparently what he has said, yes.
Okay, well, because then that will lead me... But he says there's no Titan blood that we can have because he's no longer a Titan.
That would be a way to interpret what he has said.
Okay, so... I guess, I don't know if this is the best thing, but this is what I have thought of. I'm going to roll a persuasion check. And should I do that first, or do you want me to give my justification first? Okay.
Well, yeah, well, how will you persuade him? Persuasion does make sense.
Sure. So I'm going to, or Zelmira will say to him, well, I don't see any other Titans around, or, you know, like, you seem to be a Titan to me still, and so I'm trying to persuade him that he is still a Titan, and therefore we can get blood from him or someone else.
All right.
So persuasive, I know.
Wink.
Wink. 19.
19, so...
You're a Titan.
He nods. Yeah, I am. I really am.
You make me feel so like a Titan.
Oh, God. I tried. I'm sorry, guys.
I could not overcome the Dragon Queen. I was defeated, broken, brought low, without even spilling one drop of her blood. She melted the ground beneath my feet with fire, and after it had encased me, she hardened it with ice. I was trapped. All of Avernus is our armor! Jax, Silas.
Just trying to think. Jax is not intelligent enough to ask questions.
Well, there is a question element to it, but it also seems to be getting through a story. Perhaps keeping him in this. Perhaps keeping him in this moment, in this reverie as he goes through this, would be enough. You don't need to ask a
Silas is going to do a combo move.
Ooh. Combo!
I'm going to pull out the map of Avernus that I have.
Okay.
I'm going to use my background. I'm even going to bust out the Elder Cartographer's Glossography.
Very good.
Which I have. A wondrous item. I'm going to use my skills in Cartographer's Tools. I'm going to attempt to trace and find on that map of Avernus where we are, where he had that battle, where he was burned into the ground and sealed by ice, and what he could do to help us against all the powers of hell.
Did he call her the Ice Queen?
He said that he had been melted into the rock and then she froze it in it. And based on inferences that have been made before, you are in his armor as Uldrak.
He was melted into the sand and we're crawling around in his body.
In his in the space that was made by his armor.
I'm just wondering if the name of the entity that did this to him is relevant for my notes. For the story.
He said
Dragon Queen.
The Dragon Queen.
Thank you.
And that is a skill check that I'll be making of some kind.
It's interesting, yes. So bringing out the map, you could certainly show him the map. And
and it is the map of Avernus that's not quite a simple map.
Indeed. As you pull out the map, there's a giggling sound in your head, and it says, "May the mighty have fallen! Look for him in the foot." You hear that in your head, Silas. But
We're in the foot.
Yeah.
That would have been useful. Just kidding.
So I'm not clear on exactly how you were using the map to convince him to stay in this space. You just want to show what you want to say.
It's to lock him in, to show him the path that he might have journeyed through to get to this location.
Okay, so he's
Because you don't just appear here, but I'm
Right.
literally saying, what steps did you take? Where did you enter? Did you pass over the river Styx? And I have a map as a visual aid to command his focus. If I have to the double up, aside from the cartographer's tools, if I have to double up, I'll intimidate him.
We can make it one of the others.
Demand that he look where I tell him to on the map.
I'll make it look one or the other. Your choice, whichever you think has the better chance of succeeding.
I'm going to go with intimidation, just that he's there, and I'm just going to snap him, and again, kind of force him. Look at the map. Look at it. This is where you fell.
Roll your intimidation.
And I'm going to call on Vandria for a skill check, ability check. Ability check or skill check? Does this count here?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll be rolling with advantage.
Alrighty.
It's double 19s anyway, so 26
go.
total no matter what.
That is enough. He focuses on the map and I was so mighty, but yeah, I fell. He looks up and his voice echoes up through the leg and into the rest of the body, and for just a moment you get a sense of a mighty voice trapped within this creature, and then it deflates. I prayed to my lord for aid, but all I received was his scorn. He cursed me with this pitiful, wretched form, and thus I will remain until the blood of Tiamat is spilled upon the plains of Avernus by my hand.
Father is mad at us. We didn't do as he asked. We should give him a gift. He wants blood, blood, blood. But it's so hard to find the blood he likes.
That's important.
I think if what he says, well, at least the first part was coherent, we have our next objective.
We have one. Do we have more skill checks to make potentially?
No,
Sean?
that is enough. You have. If you want clarification on anything, you could potentially do another skill check. But
I think I know what we need to do. Though how?
I have been charged with a task.
I do not know.
Typhon.
Don't
Before
suppose
I
we have a
speak-
scale of a dragon with us, do we?
That's not the blood we need. I have been charged before I return to my body by Bahamut to destroy an artifact in the possession of one Archon the Cruel. A powerful artifact that has the potential to release Tiamat from her prison in the Hells. I feel like destroying this artifact might take us where we need to go.
What thing is this you speak of?
He didn't specify what it was. I just know it's in the hands of a Dragonborn.
Well, at least we can leave this place.
This is our boot. Leave us, leave us, leave us. Boot it out of our boot. 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 Boot, boot, boot.
Let me search if he's got anything on him. And I will do a skill check for a sleight of the hand.
Okay.
Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. 27.
27. He looks at you wide-eyed, just grabs onto you with both hands, looks at you. My beloved mount. She is in torment with me. And her suffering. And her suffering. And he goes back down and begins to make designs once again in the excrement, and his groan of pain turns into a giggle and a cackle, and then just mutterings and whispers that make no sense.
Oh, we gotta kill that thing upstairs then.
Do we need to?
Well, he asked us nicely.
I'm confused. Wait, what? What are we killing?
The big
The
lizard
thing that's
upstairs.
chained up over there.
I don't remember this at all.
Well, to be fair, the only person who really got a good look at it would have been Jax.
He knew exactly what it was as well, and he did describe it. So.
When Jax first came in, when he went and explored over in this area, he came across a large blue lizard-like creature, actually a huge blue lizard-like creature that was noticeably emaciated and old and sleeping.
Oh, that was the mount? I have ADD this evening. I'm trying to keep...
He did, so this fellow has said a lot of things. I will go over those. If you feel like you are a character who would have been sharp-eared and paying a close attention, I will go over a few things. I will go over what he has said again, and then I will post it.
Okay.
I am Uldrak of the Empyrean. Ask your questions, and I will attempt to answer. I was the greatest warrior of Ildheim. My name was praised in the city of Brass. My lord Sutor saw fit to bestow upon me his greatest blessing. I was his champion, sent forth to slay the Dragon Queen. I grew enormous with my lord's power. I strode across Avernus like a walking mountain. Uvarfod, my steed, rode upon my shoulder like a child. The greatest of the Dragon Queen's brood charged at me, and I scattered their corpses across Avernus. But despite my size, my strength, my magnificence, I could not overcome her. I was defeated, broken, brought low, without even spilling one drop of her blood. She melted the ground beneath my feet with fire, and after it had encased me, she hardened it with ice. I was trapped. I prayed to my lord for aid, but all I received was his scorn. He cursed me with his pitiful form, and thus I will remain until the blood of Tiamat is spilled upon the plains of Avernus by my hand.
Okay. Thank you, that was very helpful.
Good. If you say so, I'm going to put it in Discord.
You just said some words. The good words.
Well, all we need is to get him a fragile bottle of Tiamat's blood, but getting that is no simple task.
Well, the stench in this chamber is overwhelming.
Let's begin to climb out.
I'm gonna check the refuge.
Let's do it.
Oh, you're going to make an investigation check?
Yeah.
X. Go for it.
use my D6 inspiration for 19.
A 19.
And I could bump
roll a dexterity saving throw.
God damn it. 25.
All right, there are jagged pieces of metal in and amongst the muck. However, you are able to easily discard those without cutting yourself, exposing yourself to any sort of diseases that could be in this. You find absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Just shit.
And then...
Well, you find that. And up you climb, back into the main chamber with Falkren and Persephone.
Who's tapping their mic? Who's that?
Was it Sean?
Wasn't me.
I think it was Peter.
Was it Peter? Was it finally not me?
No, I'm pretty sure it was you.
Oh, it truly wasn't this time. That's why I'm like heading. No, that's why I'm heading the witch hunt.
Not suspicious at
Burn
all.
the witch! Burn the witch!
So where are we going?
What else floats?
It was Peter.
You are now back in the, I don't know what else to call it. What did you call the
Pelvic floor?
The pelvic floor.
Nasty? Face down in the nasty?
Face down in the nasty.
The Shakira region,
Thanks, Teresa.
if
We
you
love
will.
you.
Indeed. You find yourself back there, and Falkren says, "So, what? Any blood?"
No. But instead of killing that beast, why don't we ask it if I can ride it?
What beast? What are we doing?
We must procure some blood of Tiamat.
Oh, is that all? Persephone says, "I'm pretty sure I know who that is, but just in case there is a misunderstanding, are we talking about Tiamat, the Queen of Dragons?
Yes.
The five-headed dragon?"
My hope is that we can get some without encountering her.
That's the only way we're going to get it, I think.
What, like as a gift?
I have a lead.
We need this creature to be able to spill it upon the ground of Avernus, to break its transformation into the miserable wretch that it's become, so we may harvest its blood and free the Tao from its imprisonment so we can free your unicorn, apparently.
Well, who's to say
Unless you
there's
don't
not going to be
care
another
anymore.
step after that? I want to get out of here. Maybe we
Let's
should focus
start
on that.
there.
All right, let's get out of here then. Let's make that our
There
short-term
are
objective.
3 ways out. There is the way that Jax went, which is extremely narrow, based on Silas, you had warrior training. Make a insight check. Nope. Okay. So you have this area over here that was a very narrow passage coming down, which would lead up to here. There is a very strong chance that some of you could be stuck that way. You could climb up the way you came down, although that would take a little bit of chicanery with the rope to make sure you're able to find a way to put it down. Or you could go this way that you have not yet gone, up this passage, which would lead to here, and potentially confront this Bahir over here.
I'd like to avoid the Behir.
Yeah. Could we just
like to not
secure
be
the
here.
rope above the way we came before? Do that? Titans are
think
probably
that makes-
still there, right?
That
So we
makes
could
the most sense, yeah.
Yeah.
have someone who knows how to tie a knot, and then have the imp hoist it and put it on
with,
the
with
pipe.
the help of the imp and the fact that you are not in any sort of rush for time, you are able to slowly make your way back up through the main chest cavity of this what is the word I'm looking for? Abscess that was created when the armor of Uldrak did not shrink along with him when he was turned into the form he is now, and became the cavern in which you are now climbing out. And eventually you make your way out and come to the top of where the helmet was. And sitting cross-legged on top of the bloodstone is a familiar sight.
Uh-oh.
Do some different music here. Let's see.
Is it the Legend of Zelda owl just hanging out?
It's the pixie. Hey, listen.
You look lost and in need of a plot point.
Help! Z, Z, Z,
It is
Z.
Amonazro.
Oh, of all the people.
I don't see him.
It's not my boyfriend, Smiler.
Oh, there he is. I see him now.
He sits there looking at you all and stands with a slight bow and says, "Hello, it is good to see you again, my friends. You seem to be well. As promised, I am here. You summoned me."
Did we?
She turns and looks at Persephone and says, "You should communicate better with your friends." And Persephone steps forward. "Yes, but be that as it may, it seems that we need information. And, of course, there is all those favors we owe you." Avanazro nods his head and, "That is true. I am curious. Are you wishing to ask for more information in exchange for more favors to owe me?" His eyes scan the rest of you.
I thought we always paid him off.
We
I
owe
don't
him
think we-
something. We do owe him something.
Yes. He is
last
owed
time.
a favor.
The last time that he guarded our machine. When we crossed the river Styx to go to Harmon's grove, tree, plain, plateau.
He was
Hill,
also the
yeah.
one who initially suggested that you look for Uldrak. You were looking for a Titan. He suggested this place. Well, he suggested it to Persephone. She is the one who brought it up and asked about it, and I believe, if I'm recalling correctly, you were told that this was where it was. It's marked on your map.
That sounds right.
And she summoned him while we were down talking to...
So keep in mind, this is going back months now,
Yeah.
but at some point there was a rendezvous set up between
I don't
him
know.
and you at Uldrak's grave. He was not able to come immediately, but he is here now.
Okay, we were all there and party to that happening.
You were not, if I remember correctly. You weren't. That was before you.
Yes. this is
Right,
probably-
good. That's why this is all just a
Yes.
complete mystery to me. Love it.
He looks at you, Zelmir says, "It seems there is A new face. Hello, I am Amonazro. Bows.
Zilmir just kind of stares back.
Is there any way I can be of service?
You still haven't given clarity on what favor you require from us.
Well, it has not yet presented itself. You are quite capable. But at the moment, I have no need of anything that I am aware that you can do. I am capable of traveling on my own. I am capable of getting out of most problematic situations. I have a long list of people who owe me favors, although I have called in several on your behalf.
Why?
I'm sorry, were you
I'm
not...
curious why.
Why what?
You see us as that valuable of an investment?
Well, normally, such personal questions would require compensation, but I think we are a bit beyond that, my friends. Potential. I see in you all potential. Look what all of you have accomplished in such a short amount of time. I sense that your accomplishments are but yet beginning. Perhaps some of those accomplishments in the future can be those that benefit me.
Someone like you, with potential to grow into any power vacuum, I imagine, benefits immensely when such spaces are created. And if I am not mistaken, the power, the small kingdom even that Tiamat, the Dragon Queen, has carved out from herself, is that not an affront to your kind?
Could everybody please give me their passive insights?
13.
Same.
Bad. 11.
My wisdom is high. You'd think it'd be
18.
Zelbira, at the name Tiamat, he goes very still for just a split second, as if he is trying to hide a visceral reaction. You've been among devils for some time now, and you have their ways and their manners are still very mysterious, and you would never trust one. However, you have learned to read them. And with an 18 passive insight, that was definitely an important name to him.
Zelmira takes note of this visceral reaction to stifled though he tried. And she says, "My name's Zelmira. Tiamat
Change.
seems
What
like
of her?
a name that's significant to you."
It is a name that is significant to many beings.
In what way is it significant for you? You've had an interesting reaction to it. Twice now. That I've noticed, yes.
Powerful being. It takes a great deal of gall to invoke her name here. You never know when she might be listening.
So you're afraid of her?
I am not a fool, and so yes, I am afraid of her. To answer your question, or rather your statement, Typhon, I would not say that she is loved by the current ruler of Avernus, but she is imprisoned here by the will of Asmodeus himself. So, here she shall remain.
Unless someone were to break her free.
To whom are you referring?
There are those who would see the Dragon Queen freed. There are those who are working to that end.
You are much changed. Comes closer to you. You all have had a very busy few days.
It's been a lot of fun.
You speak of Archon. Interesting. Interesting. You speak of him. How? Why? What have you learned from a wretch below? What is this sudden interest?
Sounds like you require a favor.
What do you want?
An even slate for a bit of information about what's going on. Then we can talk more. I'm sure we'll continue to need your services.
Even slate. I will find that acceptable. What do you wish to know?
Where is he? This Archon.
Are you sure that is the question you wish to ask?
Wait, can you not hear Sean anymore? Hello?
I can't hear Jade, but I see his mouth.
That was
moving.
muted, all right. And how do we kill him? Is that right?
A clean slate. Interesting. You now are treading into territory that I find very, very interesting. Would you count him as an enemy?
I don't know. I like Dragon Balls.
Archon, the cruel Archon, the beloved of Tiamat, Archon, the highest among her.
Is he not very nice?
Please.
If Archon is favored by Tiamat, then he would be my enemy.
And what Typhon said is true. should he be eliminated and you get credit for his elimination, that would allow you to rise, would it not?
Is that what you are offering me?
That seems like a bit too much for a clean slate.
That's not what I was offering. I was offering the information about what we're up to in exchange for a clean slate.
I'm suggesting that if we destroy Archon and give him the credit, then he owes us significantly.
Well, let me have a look in Rim's journal. There might be some information. Let me have a look in Rim's journal. There might be some information, and I'll pull out Rim's journal. I can't read, though.
You're welcome to take the credit as far as, well, your influence and the power vacuum is concerned, and we take what we need from completing the task. And we are at... And nothing is owed either way.
You'll need my aid in this, I think.
That sounds like a clean slate, then, if we are to succeed in destroying him.
Are you offering?
In exchange for allowing me to take the credit for what it is you wish to accomplish, I will aid you.
The credit is yours. We get the spoils.
Persephone pipes up. Who are you? A shadow of my former self. Now, what has happened to your armor?
Rust monsters.
Nothing.
Pity. You will need to be well equipped for this. What resources do you have at your disposal to amend this problem?
A lot of gold.
Almost worthless.
What's our soul coin count at the moment? Didn't we get a bunch from something relatively recently?
You have 5.
I have 5, personally. I don't know who else has them, but...
Persephone has 1,
I have 1.
and Falkren has 1.
I thought we had more than that for some reason.
I've got 1 as well.
We have soul coins. I also think I have... Well, never mind.
Very well. I have suggestions. You can choose which to follow, and we will reconvene soon. Armament. You can search for them at a watchtower. There are several of them along the river Styx. They are guarded. However, I think with your resources, and he points at the machine, this thing, you will make a formidable opponent should you choose to attack. They would no doubt have armor there that would be useful. Alternatively, you could seek someone to buy it from with soul coins. Mad Maggie comes to mind, although I do not believe she is known for carrying particularly quality works of armor, although she could perhaps repair your machine. The third option is to find the Wandering Emporium once again and try to buy it there.
I don't think the third is an option for us at the moment.
Why?
I'm not going back there.
Oh, but my girlfriend's there.
Each step that you take must see you protected. Choose. And I will contact you soon. I must see to some things.
I would rather wait to make that decision until we have our full party.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Could we get the armor and then go repair the war machine and then go? Can we do 2 of the 3?
He's not put a time limit on any of these things.
Okay.
It is up to you and how much time you think you have with your current quest.
In terms of distances and such, how far are we from the tower? How far are we from Maggie?
So you ask him how far away you are from a tower.
I was just, if you have the map up, we can
I
take
do,
a...
yes. He sighs and looks around and says, I believe that your closest tower will be here. Fort Knucklebone is here.
Much further. Yep. As much as I'd love to see Maggie again, because she's my favorite evil person, I think the tower makes the most logistical sense.
Well, you can wait to, I mean, I can certainly see why you would say that, but you can wait to see the rest of the group.
Yeah.
He is willing to answer more questions for free, it appears, if anybody has one they wish to ask.
What do you know of Archon?
Archon was once a paladin of Bahamut, but fell. He gained the favor of Tiamat, rose in her graces for incredible acts of heroism on her behalf, and at one point he acquired a powerful relic. It allowed him to destroy those above him, move even further into her grace, and now he is one of her most trusted servitors. He has a tower here from which he plots to free her from her prison. It is extremely well defended. However, it may be vulnerable in certain circumstances.
What do you know of the artifact?
It is a hand.
A hand.
I have seen it. At one point, he had claws like you, but now one of them is a shriveled humanoid hand.
You know what it does.
It is power. And I think he has not yet tapped its full potential.
Then we must give him leave of it.
So, until next we meet. Ah. Right on time. As he looks over, you see 2 dots of light appear about 6 feet apart, and then a line go across, and then descend to the floor of Avernus. 'Avernus. 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 This place, Uldrak, enemy of Tiamat. She, I imagine, has not thought of him in some time, but that does not mean there are not safeguards in place. This will be a challenging fight, and but a taste of what you have in store if you wish to confront Archon the Cruel, and he disappears. And stepping out of the portal that appears are 4 draconic-looking creatures with long scimitars, which they draw, coming forward. They have black skin and dragon-like faces. One of them holds up a hand and begins to cast a spell. And that, my friends, is where we will stop for this evening. Thank you all for those of you who have watched.